With there being so many different hat styles that have emerged in streetwear and in fashion, in this video, I'm going to try my best to go through all of the different baseball hat trends that have happened in the early 2000s, working all the way up until 2020 present day. It's your boy Keezy. It ain't easy being Keezy. Let's get it. So hopefully I didn't bite more than I can chew by making this video, because there has been so many different hat styles that have emerged in the past 20 years. But I'm going to try my best. And I think the first thing to bring up when we talk about the early 2000s, the year 2000 to about 2005, there was a huge push from MLB and New Era selling all of the on-field caps. And when I grew up, whether that was middle school or high school, everybody had the team hats on. This time period to me kind of spoke that there weren't necessarily that many options out there other than the colorways that you're looking at right here. As far back as I can remember, it just made more sense to wear a baseball cap, mainly a on-field New Era MLB hat that was a city that was close to you. If you're from LA, then you would wear the Dodgers. If you're from New York, you wear a New York hat. If you're from the Bay, you wear Giants or Oakland Athletics. This was truly a time where people were wearing the hats mainly for either the emblem of the city or just as an accessory to style your fit as a lifestyle piece, so to speak. And since we're starting from 2000 to 2005, not only were these hats really popular, another item that gained a lot of popularity would be NBA headbands. Yeah, that's right. People showed up to school with like sweatbands on their wrists, sweatbands on their head, whether it was like high school, middle school. And this was probably around the same time that &1 mixtapes were coming out. So everybody thought they can ball. Ball is life. So when you go to school, you want to look and dress like the part. You would have the jeans and the t-shirt, but still you'd have the headband to go with it. So excuse me if my information around this time is a little bit fuzzy, but from what I can remember, around 2005, 2006 is really when MLB realized that there was a huge market of people that want to buy into baseball caps more as a lifestyle accessory than to actually play baseball in. So during the years of like 2005, 2006, 2007, when you go to the mall, you would visit places like Hat Club or Lids or Sports City, and the minute you would walk in, instead of just having all of the on-field fitteds, they would have the fitted hats with the normal teams except with a bunch of different colors. And all I can remember is that hats like this were getting pretty popular. I mean, this is just your basic everyday New Era fitted. But not only having something like a black and white hat as your everyday fitted, they would start mixing the colors of different on-field teams onto different teams that it didn't apply to. It would be something like a Giants fitted but in the A's colorway. It's like, even though that was across the bridge. And as they started to get more experimental with the color use, they started doing different designs. And these are some of the designs that they started coming up with that were really popular during the years of 2005 all the way up until maybe like 2007, 2008. So reminiscing on those times a little bit, this was the bling bling era, if you want to call it that, where companies were starting to experiment with more colors. The logo started getting a little bit more daring. So hats started to look like this. And I believe this look kind of came more so from the East Coast, from New York. And after these multi-teamed hats would come out, they would also drop pinwheel hats. Yes, pinwheel. I still like pinwheel hats to this day. I love pinwheel hats. But not to reiterate too much, but again, the pinwheel hats were so popular. They would come in so many different colorways. It's unbelievable. As we float through these years, I think by 2007, 2008, they dropped these earmuff type New Era cap. It was basically your regular fitted, except on the side you would have these like ear flaps on the bottom. And I can't lie, I still like these hats. They were really heavy on the head, but I like them. But as we keep moving along on the timeline here, I think by 2008, 2009, they started dropping hats that look like this. One of them had like a city landscape on it. And as a consumer looking at this, it just felt as if they were just getting more and more and more creative when it came to the hats that they were trying to sell. Because maybe they were getting bored with the pinwheels, maybe they were getting bored with the on-fields. They just wanted to keep adding more flavor and more flavor. So they started coming out with stuff like this. Then, as I told you, this is like that bling bling era. People had way bigger chains on and they had like bedazzled stuff going on. So they came out with these hats, and it would literally be a bedazzled emblem on your hat. Sometimes it would be super large. So they would start experimenting with the logos on the hats being bigger or smaller. And it was just a thing. And it was being sold at a lot of retail stores at that point. So I know I might be skipping through some styles here, but if you had actual money to spend on your clothes during this era, whether it be 2007 all the way to 2009, this is also the time when BBC, Billionaire Boys Club, and Bape was getting very popular. So if you saw people wearing these hats, you knew that they had money, okay? Because I'm gonna be honest, I saw these all over the internet when I was younger, but I never seen anybody wear these hats. So it was like very popular as a viral hat, if that makes sense. But actually seeing people walk down the street with a BBC Running Dog hat or the Bape hat would just be unheard of. Maybe like the Teriyaki Boys would have it on, or Kanye. But again, never seen it in person. So if you had real money and you had some kind of proxy from Japan when you were younger, somehow, then you also would be rocking these hats right here. So everything I explained so far from the 2000s leading all the way up until 2010, pretty much all fitted caps. And the only time people would wear snapbacks was kind of wearing trucker hats, but not too many people, as far as where I'm from, wore that many snapbacks back then. But once you hit that 2010 era, people started to wear snapbacks because it was probably made popular either by Wiz Khalifa, Big Sean, Chris Brown, Kanye West, and Don C. So hopefully I'm not repeating myself too much, because if you've watched my other content, I talked about the swag boy era, and that's exactly what this was. So what gained popularity was the Bulls snapbacks, and it was pretty much anything that was black, red, and white. As long as it was those colors, people liked it. So other brands stepped in, whether it was Obey, not necessarily Supreme. Supreme didn't come in the picture yet, but people again were wearing a lot of Bulls, Chicago hats, and mainly the hat would be black on top and the bill would be red color, and people would wear the G-Shock, skinny jeans, the full 9 yard. You get it. And by 2011, I think, is when the video Otis dropped with Kanye and Jay-Z. And I believe Jay-Z's actually rocking the Don C snapback. If not, it's just a black snapback with a either snakeskin or crocodile strap on the side. And maybe the brim was also a customized crocodile or snakeskin. And those types of hats, whether it was made by Don C or whether it was made by someone else, you maybe bought it at the flea market or something like that, those got really popular. And I think the look of this type of snapback, or even just the Mitchell & Ness's in general, was that a lot of these looks were actually throwback OG MLB style hats or on-field fitteds, except it would have script writing, and maybe sometimes it would have the logo. And by that time, TISA from Taz Arnold stepped in, and those hats pretty much just took over the game. So as I explained, 2010 going up to 2015, if I were to try my best to explain this, not only were people gravitating away from wearing fitteds and only wearing snapbacks, now there was a huge push for not necessarily wearing team hats. Instead of having Bulls or Chicago or, you know, SF Giants, New York Yankees on your hat, people now wanted branded hats kind of more than ever. So other brands started stepping in, like Blackscale, where it would be branded hats. It would look exactly like a baseball cap, or maybe just some regular black snapback, because they only did things in black color. Okay, and they would put either random words on there, random text, or maybe even put their brand name on there that would say black with the A flipped upside down because it's cooler when it looks like a V. Now, I'm not saying that Blackscale is like the first brand to bring this to the table, but what I can tell you is that startup streetwear brands or unknown brands would start doing this, where they would just take their emblem or their logo and throw it onto a hat that just looks similar to any regular baseball hat. So this is where I think the shift is. From 2015 moving into 2016, Supreme stepped in and started to gain popularity on a scale that was just unimaginable. And they dropped these hats right here These are either called camp hats or 5-panel hats, whatever you feel comfortable calling it. And I think I have to add this in here. 2015, 2016 was a good year for me because I have a smaller head shape and I really couldn't wear fitted hats. So when the camp hats came in, or the 5 panels, those are really meant for people with a smaller dome, if you ask me, because it really takes the shape organically of your head shape, and it worked out for me for those years. I wore camp hats for a long time. I didn't wear Supreme, but I wore camp hats for a while. But how can we explain these 2 years from 2016 all the way up until 2018 without mentioning dad hats? And I have to give all of the credit, or majority of the credit, to Wiz Khalifa. I chatted about this on a live already, but I personally think, and also there's actually video proof of this documented on his actual YouTube channel, Wiz Khalifa's YouTube channel, of him really rocking the dad hat before anybody was rocking the dad hat on a major scale. So these years deemed the dad hat to be a dad hat. That sounds really strange, but that's exactly what it became. And like the dad hats, the styling of them would either be in like 3 colors. It would either be beige, black, white, or for some reason it would be pink. And on the hats would not necessarily be team logos. It wouldn't be like SF Giants or New York Yankees. Those did exist, of course. But people would start flipping the logos, and instead of putting their company name on there, they would put these really tiny logos on the hat, and it would be like a lean cup, or like Wiz Khalifa's face, or just something random like a banana, or the hat that said, "I think about you sometimes." If you haven't seen this hat, you've been living under a rock. That was everywhere. I would say as time progressed, from 2018, 19, and moving into 2020, things have now gotten more complicated to explain and hone in what styles are popular and what are not. Because people still wear dad hats, people probably still wear 5 panels, but now in 2019 there has been a resurgence of a lot more people starting to wear fitteds again. And fitteds are coming back in style. I don't hear anybody talking shit about fitteds, and yes, there was a time being where people were kind of like, oh man, we're off fitteds, like fitteds don't look good anymore. And I gotta admit, there was a time when I mentally thought that, you know, it does feel weird to kind of wear a fitted in 2013, 2014. It felt funny. Unless you had a really good head shape to go with it and it made sense, then yes. But 2019, I've seen a lot of either influencers and or rappers that are starting to wear fitteds again, and of course influencing many other people to do the same. So if you've been watching my channel and following up with a lot of content that I've been making, especially some of the trend videos, if you just scroll Instagram or even just hear some of the stuff I talk about, is that the 2000s looks are coming back, right? Well, damn near anything from the 2000s, whether it's fitteds, whether it's baggy clothes, all of those things are making their resurgence. And now even brands like Von Dutch, being so famous for that Von Dutch hat, that is also coming back too. I've seen a lot more celebrities rocking that hat as well. And since this is gaining popularity as a trucker hat, people have now started wearing the Chrome Hearts hat. Now, I don't know much information about the Chrome Hearts hat. I don't know when those released. I don't know when those came out. Maybe they're old, maybe they're new. But I can tell you right now, a lot of people wear the Chrome Hearts hat. Goddamn, there are a lot of people wearing that damn hat, that trucker hat. And speaking of a lot of people wearing a particular style, as of right now, as we move from 2019 into 2020, I think one of the most popular things that is trumping a lot of different styles has got to be the upside down logo Yupong snapback look. It's literally snapbacks that they take any team and they just flip it upside down. Yeah, that has to be more popular than anything that I can name here. And I'm not ending with this, but it's popular as shit. So by ending off this video in 2020, if I were to just give my opinion on what I see being really popular right now when it comes to hats, it's got to be baseball hats that are only one color. If we talk about actual baseball hats, there's some other things like vintage hats that are making a resurgence. Bass Pro, Millers, or like Malibu type hats, like those are gaining a lot more popularity because of vintage, maybe even because of the pandemic. But when I say single colored hat, I just refer to the MoMA hats. right? The MoMA hats are basically either on-field fitted colorways, which is all one color, New York Yankees logo, and then it has like a little side logo here, and you know, the consumers are happy. And I know this is not a predictions video, but I'm gonna say this, and I've kind of already said it, but the whole pinwheel look, I truly believe that it is going to make a comeback and it's going to be in full force. Some celebrity is going to wear it, and it's just going to go crazy. I don't know who it is, either a celebrity, rapper, what have you, is going to rock it. People are going to love it, and it's going to come back. Because like I've already explained, all the 2000 stuff is making a comeback. And pinwheel hats fit right in there perfectly. Okay, last words. Obviously, I did not have enough time to go through everything. I mean, I'm sure I skipped over a lot of stuff. I mean, I tried my best to kind of, you know, make the parameters of baseball caps specifically, or anything within the realm of streetwear. And as we always do, in the comments, leave the styles of the ones that I forgot. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys and girls keep it locked from clothing, music to culture. It's your boy Keezy, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
You want to do, and it's just gonna take a minute, but it's gonna work out. Like if you try to cut corners and you put fucking costumes on to do shit, yeah, you gonna get straight, but at what cost? You know what I'm saying? And how you feel when you do this shit for you, 100% for you. You could grind and stay up for 5 or 6 days and not really be tired because it's for you.